I came from humble beginnings. My dad was a taxi driver. I used to live in a one-bedroom apartment. There were 6 of us there. So as soon as I turned into a certain age, I was 14 years old when I was like, I got to do everything on my own. People that are successful in their 30s, and I ask them like, hey, how did you become so successful? How do you have a Lamborghini, this, that? I grinded in my 20s. Just understanding that, I'm like, if I grind for a decade from my 20 to 30s, I should be, financially free.
In society today, we are dying for just real, honest, genuine conversation, relationships. I think we need it desperately.
My first employee, my first acquisition, trusting him with my data, trusting him with my login for my DocuSign, how to send contracts, trusting him with my cash buyers.
Yeah.
Because what happens once you teach someone the game, most of the time they see how much money you're making, they want to, do their own thing, or they cut you off or put you on the back burner. You know what it is. You know how that works.
Absolutely. They take advantage of the advice that you're giving and think they can do it by themselves, and then,
Yeah. And, I had people that came into my life that learned from me and started their own thing, and they don't understand how hard it is, how much capital you need to actually start that business, how much work you need to put in. They just see your success, they work for you for a bit, and they want to start their own thing. They think that, oh yeah, I can do the same thing
no big
right
deal.
away. Yeah.
Right. So what were some of the things that how did you learn how to teach yourself how to read people and build that trust to be able to delegate? Because you have a lot of businesses.
Yeah, even right now, I have about, accumulating all my businesses, I think I have about 500 employees.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's a lot of people. Even till this day, it's like people come into my life and the real ones stay. But we're firing people. Like I have my own call center. So I have 400 employees there.
Yes.
So I have people
and that's out of country.
Yeah, that's in Egypt.
So you have to have somebody manage those people.
Even my managers, we're firing managers because they're taking advantage of our system as well. So it's like you can't really read people. They come up they show up to the interview saying, hey, this, we're, and then you're like, oh, it's a good fit. Then you give them the opportunity. A few months in, you're like, taking advantage of us because we have we monitor their screen. So whenever they're doing something fishy, we get to see all their stuff. If they're just playing games or doing something else, we get to see it. Hey, you're on our time. We're paying you. You're on our clock. So if you're doing something that's not work related, taking advantage of us. We have people that just show up, turn on their screen, and then they have like an auto clicker. Someone's just clicking buttons and they're not even doing anything. They're sleeping on their job.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So it's like you really can't read people. They might be a great candidate, but their work ethic's not there. So I'm still going through it. It's like.
Well, and I think you always will, because people are human.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that you bring up the human aspect of it, because I'm sure as you're successful, it changes your perspective.
Yeah.
Not only your lifestyle, but your perspective. So what have been some of the things that have kept you grounded and reminded you, or, of where you came from, and how do you utilize that humbleness in how you build your businesses?
Yeah. I came from humble beginnings, right? My dad was a taxi driver. When he came here, he was an immigrant. I used to live in a one-bedroom apartment. There were 6 of us there. So it's like really didn't have much growing up, right? So as soon as I turned into a certain age, I was 14 years old when I was like, I got to do everything on my own, right?
Yeah.
Because my dad, he provided food. He did as much as he can for us. But I didn't have new shoes every few months or even every year, right? I had the same shoes I would wear for a long period of time, right? Same clothes. I remember going 3rd and 4th grade with the same clothes. Right, it wasn't, it was tough, right? So as soon as I turned to an age, I was like, okay, let me go hustle. Let me figure it out. So I come from humble beginnings from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right, I didn't really have much. So now that I have multiple companies, I have over 51 rentals, I have all this stuff, I still put myself in this position where like, hey, I didn't have anything growing up, so I still need to work like I'm broke. That's what it is, So I still work, and every time I have some money coming in, suppose I do a big deal, I made $100,000 on a deal. Guess what? I'm putting it back. I spend the money quick. Either it's in marketing, it's in hiring, it's in buying assets. I try getting rid of money because money sitting is money doing nothing. Right. So I try getting rid of all my cash. Like even right now, I just bought like 20 properties. We had some cash laying around. We're like, hey, let's buy some properties.
Right.
So anytime we get properties coming in, we just buy them ourselves.
Do you ever feel like, with your mentality of, keep going, keep investing, because you never know what can happen, right? Do you ever feel like you don't take time to enjoy it, or you could, as you're building your businesses, do you live and enjoy it a little bit, or is that something that you struggle with, especially coming from humble beginnings?
Yeah. Well, you know what they say, right? This is like a quote that we actually were talking about the other day. We're like, if you grind in your 20s, you could retire in your 30s and 40s.
Mm-hmm.
But what people tend to do, they enjoy their 20s, and then
they're screwed.
Exactly. And then they're working their 30s and 40s, and they retire at 65.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm the other way around. I was like, hey, I know, because I seen people around me. I see my father, I seen uncles, and they're retiring at 60, in their 60s because, of whatever the situation was, and even like cousins and other people that I've been around. So, but what I've seen is people that are successful in their 30s, and I ask them like, hey, how did you become so successful? How do you have a Lamborghini? This, that. I grinded in my 20s. So just understanding that, I'm like, if I grind for a decade from my 20 to 30s, if I grind, there, and then in my 30s and 40s, I should be, financially free. So that's what I'm doing. I'm 28. I'm still grinding.
Yeah.
I think by 30, 31, I should be like, okay, my goal is to have 100 properties by 30.
And where are you at? Again,
I'm at 51.
You're at 51. Okay, yeah, you're already halfway there.
Yeah, I got like, 2 years left,
Right.
about a year because my birthday's
Well,
in
and
August.
it depends on your units, because you could have buildings that have multiple units that could get you to that.
Yeah. So I have all single family houses.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all single
family. So you haven't even dove into multi-units yet, and like apartment complexes and stuff like that.
The reason why is because I buy everything cash. Right?
Okay.
I can't take any interest. I can't take any loans. It's against my religion. So everything that I buy,
Can you tell me about that? Just because, and forgive my ignorance.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
So what they say, you should only buy what you can afford. That's what it's been coming out for generations. And then the reason they say that is when you take interest, it's like having a war with God. That's what it says in our. Yeah, it's like having a war with Him. So it's just like that's
facts.
Yeah. That's why you can't take interest.
Okay.
And the other thing is, imagine you take on $10 million worth of loan. You start out with a few $100,000, and then you want to scale, and now you're at $10 million, which is average for an investor. He has $10 million in loans.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He has multiple houses, multi-units, stuff like that. So suppose something happens to you, and you have a wife, you have kids. Guess what happens? All that stuff, the loan gets passed down to your wife and kids. Now imagine your wife's a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home mother, taking care of the kids, and she doesn't really know what's going on with the investing side, right? She doesn't know what's going on, who's paying what rent, what's really going on, and now you're putting her in a predicament where it's going to go to foreclosure and putting her credit to risk,
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why they say.
So how did you combat and build up your finances to be able to start to buy properties if lending isn't an option?
So like I said, it was tough, right? So what I did, my first deal was I started in wholesaling real estate. So there's multiple avenues in real estate, right? There's fixing and flipping. You could be a landlord, you could be a developer, you could be a realtor.
Yeah.
There's so many avenues. Wholesaling is a middleman between the seller and the buyer. So you don't buy any properties.
I get it.
So I went direct to the seller.
You were the
middleman. So I was the middleman trying to make the deals happen. So I was just calling people, just bought a list of vacant properties. I started calling people and asked, hey, do you want to sell your property? That's all I did, And I found wholesaling on YouTube. There's a guy named Brent Daniels. He introduced me to wholesaling, So I found that out. Yeah, it took me 8 months to get my first deal. And, a lot of trial and error.
Cool.
But I closed my first deal, it took me 8 months. And I made $2,000. It wasn't much, but at least I proved the concept. Once I proved the concept, I know this works. Guess what? I went all in.
Oh, yeah.
So just, now 6 years in, my first year did a few thousand, second year did a few thousand, third year, I got the traction going. 'Cause I'm doing this full time.
Did you start when you were 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 21.
Okay. 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, started doing that, and then like my third, fourth year, now I'm doing 6 figures.
Cool.
And then fifth year, same thing. Then I started building a team because I'm like, hey, I gotta stop being a solopreneur and you start hiring people.
So you probably are a connoisseur. You probably love the word no.
Oh yeah.
That probably is just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Now I'm really going to have to, show you what I'm working with.
Yeah.
So what's your best response? This is for these people out there that are doing this cold calling, because it's a vibe, right? What's your response to no?
No? Well, it all depends.
I'm not interested.
Yeah.
You know, like what are some of your top tier
My top tier responses, if they say no, like, sounds good. You know, I'm just a local investor in the area. I'm looking to buy some properties. What if I told you I get you a better property for the same price? Are you looking to relocate? Do you like where you're staying? How long have you been staying here for? You know, so you're trying to figure it out. Like, isn't it cold out here? You know, how many? And then you figure out if they have any kids. You just try building rapport. You know, before you even get to the price, you try building rapport. Like, hey, you know, I'm looking to buy this. I'm an investor. I'm looking to fix and flip. Have you done anything to the property in the few years? Have you done anything in the past few years? No, I haven't. You know, I'm like, you know, what if I update it and make the neighborhood a little nicer? You know, that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to make the neighborhood nicer. I'm trying to have another family, give them an opportunity to live in this. You've been living in this for 25 years. Don't you think it's time to give someone else the opportunity? And I can get you in something better and nicer for the same price.
South.
You know, like I'm trying to help them out. In this business, you need to help the person out, right? People do business with people they like and trust. So you got to build that rapport to where it's like, hey, I'm trying to see if I can help you out in any way, get you into something else. You know, because it probably does need some work. And the people that we talk to, they're already warm leads. So I'm not cold calling myself, right? I hire cold callers to call people that are either properties are vacant, properties that have code violations, properties that are distressed. So we're not just talking to random people.
Right.
You know, they're just saying
You're strategically calling.
It's like, you might get some no's and you're like, oh, well, okay. You know, there's sometimes you can't really respond to, no, and they'll hang up. You don't even have the opportunity to talk to them.
Yeah.
But a person that says, yeah, I might be interested in selling, those are the type of people I talk to.
Yeah.
Right? Now I come in, I build that rapport, I negotiate price, and then I make it make sense to where it's like, hey, it's a win-win situation for both parties.
Yeah.
Right? I can make a few $1,000, you walk away with some capital, and my investor that's going to buy it, he could fix it and flip it, and he makes some money too, right?
Was there anybody in your life that was like, what are you doing? You should, like, why aren't you doing X, Y, and Z instead of this? Because it took you time to make money. So I'm sure you had to have support, or you didn't. You know, how was that for you?
It was tough in the beginning because, like I said, I was a business analyst. I was in IT, so I had a 6-figure paying job. So after leaving that and doing this, my parents were disappointed. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're doing good for yourself. You're making money. You had your own place. You got your own car. You did all this stuff through that job, and now you're quitting to do this. I was fed up. You know, it's like that in IT is like it's a desk job. It's it's mind-boggling. There's a lot going on there, and plus I didn't like the environment. So I had to leave. I wanted to let that go, and I wanted to do something else. So and I know the most millionaires are made in real estate. So I was like, hey, let me try giving this a try. My main thing was I wanted to be a realtor. That's what I was doing. I was studying to be a realtor. Yeah. And while doing that, I was like, let me find. Then I found the wholesaling opportunity. So that's what I wanted to get into real estate regardless.
Right.
So I was just trying to find where to be in real estate. Should I be a developer? Should I be a contractor? What should I do? So then once I found it, I was like, okay, I just gotta stick with it. Like I was saying earlier, you gotta be consistent.
Yeah.
So I could have been like, oh, I made my first deal 1-2 years. It's okay. Let's try being a developer now. Or let's try being a realtor. Let's try doing this. But no, you got to focus on one thing, one industry, one niche, and go all in there.
And do it well.
Exactly.
Well, and I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen, at least from the financial perspective, is that I get these people that are looking to invest, but haven't really honed in on one thing well. So they're jumping and not building the team and doing the work to really be successful in that one field, and it's a disservice to them because they spread themselves too thin, and then it doesn't end up working.
Whatever you pick, you got to be in it for at least 5 years. I say in those 5 years, you have the learning curve. You're educating yourself. You're building your systems, your processes. You're hiring people. You're learning throughout that whole 5-year mark. But after that 5 years, in anything that you do, if you're a barber, right? If you have an insurance company, whatever you do, in those 5 years, you learn so much to where you know what works, what doesn't work.
Right.
And then you just dial in. Like, I'll give you an example for wholesaling. I know what list to buy now, right? Absentee, code violations, compared to like just buying whatever I was buying,
right?
Using whatever script I was using throughout the whole thing. Now I know what script works, what contract works, who are my cash buyers, what's my criteria, what's my list. I know what I need to do to make that transaction happen. But that happened over the 5-year mark, by learning, right?
Yeah.
So even as a barber, right? If you're a barber, when you cut your first person up, it's like, what'd you do? But as you progress, you know how to fade, you know how to do a nice lineup, you know how to do this, you know how to do that.
I was just going to apply it to like a team of like sports.
Yeah.
You know, like these recruiters spend their whole lives just studying the stats of athletes, you know, to figure out which athlete's going to fit the team to be most successful. And they only have 4 years. You know what I mean? We're talking about like college basketball or whatever. So the same theory with you. It's like, or any industry, I should say, is it does take time. It takes time.
It takes time for sure.
So are there any gurus or people out there in the industry right now that you feel are doing a disservice to people out there? What sets you apart, I should say?
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of fluff in the market. I know people that teach about real estate wholesaling that don't own a single piece of asset. They don't own any real estate. They don't even wholesale themselves. I know people that close their real estate business down just to do coaching full time.
Yeah.
They don't even do real wholesaling. The reason why I even got into coaching is because I was doing so many transactions and I automated my team where I have 30 cold callers. I have 6 guys in-house. So, and I have a disposition lead manager. So it's like when the lead comes in, from that point, it goes to my acquisition, they get it under contract, it goes to my disposition, he gets it sold, A to Z. The only time I get a call is like, hey, boss, go pick up the check. So I automated that whole process to where it's like, hey, I got so much free time. That's why I have so many different companies. And I understand the concept of, it's a very simple concept. It's the same 3 things that I do for any business, right? First thing is systems. You get whatever company you start, you dial in the systems, right? You get the CRM, you get whatever is needed, right? You build that hub, right? Lead generation. Then it comes down to SOPs, right? Processes. You put in the correct roles and responsibilities. Who's doing what role? In the beginning, you do everything yourself, but you build it out to where it's okay, cool. And then you bring out the people. Like, hey, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, and then you just oversee and monitor, right? That's what I do. It's like, okay, cool. Everything's looking good. Cool. We're doing good numbers. Okay, we gotta fire you. We gotta rehire this. We gotta do this. Cool. Awesome. On to the next set. So that's what I'm doing now. Like same thing with the call center, right? Same type of structure.
And you've seen the gurus or the whatevers out there, because I think it's oversaturated, the real estate world. It's oversaturated with people that are trying to be coaches and mentors, and like you said, they're not even successful themselves. So I think
they don't even have a track. They don't even have a track record.
Do your research, right?
Exactly.
I think it's funny. I mean, I've met realtors that don't even own a home. Just realtors.
It's insane.
I mean,
and they call
never
themselves
owned a home.
A top performer or top producer. I'm like, you don't even have a house.
You don't even have a house, bro. That's like selling a car and you don't even know how to drive. You know what I mean? You don't even have a driver's license.
It's insane. There's a lot of fluff in the market. A lot of fake gurus. Like you said, you got to be very cautious, especially now, because a lot of things is, it's not what it seems on social media. So you got to be.
Yeah, it goes beyond.
Yeah, they might have a extravagant lifestyle. They're traveling to, the Himalayas or Hawaii, doing this, doing that. Makes it look like, oh, they're very successful, but in reality, everything's on credit cards.
Yeah, it's all borrowed.
Yeah, it's all borrowed money, trying to pay them back just by showing that lifestyle by coaching. You know, I know so many people that do it that way.
Yeah.
It's like, it's insane.
I feel like in society today, at least in Western society today, we are dying for just real, honest, genuine conversation, relationships. I think we need it desperately, you know. As a mom of 3, I just, I have 2 boys and 1 girl. And my oldest, I'm just always having that conversation with him, like, always read people for how they act first. No matter what's coming out of their mouth. Watch their behavior. And that tells you a lot about who they are.
100%.
So I think borrowing a bunch of things and preaching on being a coach is a behavior trait that it just says a lot about who they are.
That's facts. It's just got to be genuine, right? You could tell a fake person just by the way they act, right?
Yeah.
And like all this flashy stuff, they got this bling on, and they got all this like fancy designer stuff where it's like, it really makes sense,
No.
It'll be genuine, I just felt like this is like a $20 polo, it's just like.
It's where it's at.
Yeah, I like this watch, I like the Rolex, but it's just like, it'll be genuine, it's like just come in, and the thing is, numbers speak louder than words, right? So, people lie, numbers don't.
Beyond actions, right? It's numbers.
Yeah, people lie, numbers don't. That's why you gotta ask your coach, show the HUDs. Right. So,
So what are some goals for you within the next 5 years? What's your mission?
One of the main goals is 100 doors, right?
Okay.
100 doors, right? 100 rental properties. I want to bring in at least 100K, 150K around there. Guaranteed income through Section 8. That's one of the main goals. Second thing is I want to buy, like a 15,000 square foot office so I can have all my companies in there.
Cool.
So this is like,
like
2,000.
Yeah.
I was looking at one. I found one in the Northbrook area, Northfield. It was a really nice property. It was like, 10,000 square foot property. It was really nice, 2 floors. I could have had multiple companies in there.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking. So that's what I'm looking for right now. I want to do that so I can.
You want to own the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I own this building here too. So.
Okay, cool.
That's what I want to do. I have to be around anywhere from 800K to 1.5 mil. That's what the range is. But I want to have, and I buy cash, right?
So you want to fix her up, or you want it ready to move in?
It depends. Depends on the price, right? If it's like ready to move in, and it's a really, if I'm getting it for 80, 90 cents on the dollar, okay, it makes sense.
Okay.
Fixer upper is gonna take me about 6 months to 6 months to a year to even get it up to par, right?
Yeah.
And then to get it up to code, especially with permits and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it depends. If you can
so
find me
is everything right now hybrid?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is like my enterprises where I have my media team here. I have my sales guy here for my coaching business. I'm here, and then I have my wholesale operation in another location. So I have like my 6 guys, my acquisition. So I have 2.
Yeah, that'll help you a lot.
Yeah. And then plus I have like my rideshare company here.
Hub.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm buying the property next door. We're gonna start another company there, insurance and accounting and stuff. So it's gonna be like different locations. I'd rather have it where it's like, okay, I have my accounting company here, insurance, media, real estate, coaching, everything in one.
Yeah.
So that way I don't gotta jump around. Like I gotta go there for a day, go here this day.
That's annoying.
It's tough,
Yeah.
It's like running around.
Well, it's time.
Yeah. Time is money. So I'd rather be in one location, but if I do want to have a meeting with this company, cool, let's go here.
When you'd be surprised when they communicate with each other too.
Yeah.
What ideas may come out of that.
Exactly.
Cool.
When we're having lunch together, it's like, oh, cool. Like whenever FaZe comes out to my team, it's like, yeah, we're having lunch. We're discussing this. My brother's like, hey, let's make content like this. Oh, yeah, I got this deal right here, 85,000 on a deal. FaZe is just recording it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's just like.
So he is just going to be following you around. Is that the goal?
Yeah.
Okay.
He follows me around. He's like my videographer. Plus, he's my partner in my media company. I have a company called Gafar Media. We do short form reels for other creators. We started by doing it for myself.
Is that the stuff you sent me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know how you said you want to build your brand?
Yes.
So that's what we do. I have about 8 creators that work for me right now that are part of my program. And we basically do short form reels, long form content. We show you what's going to help you go viral. We come up with the main concept.
Do you subcontract out the videographers?
Yeah. So if you need videographers, like he's one of the videographers, he'll come out. But then I have 2 other guys that are on my team that if we need something, like suppose you're like, hey, can you come out to this property? We just send you one of our guys. They come out and record for you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we do all the short form content. We make the content for you from the hook to the body to the call to action, everything, right? Cool. So we first dissect who you are. Once we figure out who you are, then we figure out the brand strategy.
How to highlight it.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah, so me and him, we partnered up on that. So, he's more of just a videographer to me. He's like my brother, he's a partner. And
director.
Director, yeah. I haven't seen.
Listen, I don't think you should ever have somebody you don't like as your director. That could fuck some shit up real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So cool.
It was hard trusting him too. You know how we were talking about trust factor.
Trust.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been burned
so many times. I still get burned. Like my sales manager, CFO, my COO. It's like you've been with me for a year or 2 years, and then started acting up. This, that. It's like it happens.
You bite the hand that feeds you, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why people insist on doing that. That's crazy. Yeah. So what have been? Let me ask you this question. You have this system, this 3-part system of how you build out your businesses. What are some of the strategies that you taught yourself that you feel are absolute takeaways from a process perspective in terms of figuring out what CRM to use, how you want the order of your hands that are building out, your branch of success from how did you find those tools?
So the first thing I do is research. market research. So suppose I'm getting into any company. You could, get into the insurance company. First thing you do is market research. You dissect, hey, what are the tools I need for this? What's the regulations? What kind of permits? What kind of licenses do I need? First, I do my due diligence.
Okay.
Right? That's the first phase to see, okay, and then I see, is this even feasible?
You do that all on your own?
Yeah. That's like my own.
Everything that you've gotten into, exactly. You do it on your own?
Yeah. So that's what I enjoy doing, right? I'm like, okay, let me see, what are the profit margins? How much can I actually make? How many clients do I need to make X amount, right? And then I'm like, okay, this one I can make $20,000 a month by doing these many clients or this or that, like all that stuff, right? So once I do that, and I'm like, well, is it worth it? How much time do I need to put into this, right? For me, it's like, okay, in the beginning, I'll put this much time, but what are the people that I need in this business to delegate everything to where it can make me X amount without me with just me supervising.
What did you do again in the corporate world?
BA. So I was a business analyst. So that's what I did, So,
duh. Okay.
So, yeah. So
that's a cool tool to have in your
arsenal,
your tool belts. Yeah. I mean, you literally look at everything objectively and piece it all together. Yeah. How awesome in your brain.
Yeah.
Or do you write it down?
I write it down. It's like it's cool both, right? So I'm like brainstorming this.
Yeah.
I'm like texting this out, putting this in my notes. I'm, making diagrams. I'm like, okay, this is gonna go here. This is how we're gonna do this.
It's like Excel, your best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. That's super cool.
So that's what it comes down to, right? So once I do that, and then I'm like, okay, I need to find this. Do
you coach on that?
I do not.
Dude, that's the thing right there.
Yeah. I don't think it's coachable. Like that's just like what I
think.
I don't know. Look,
I think your vision to objectively do it, I don't think you can teach that. But the tools and the order of which you do it, I think you could teach that.
Maybe something to say, if you want to start a business, I could put a whole blueprint together for you.
I mean, elite entrepreneur, right? Yeah. Building a business.
Yeah.
I think that's a great connection to what you're, and you're already doing it.
Yeah.
And you have a degree in it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing to look into. I never thought about, providing that as a service, but the only thing I coach in right now is
just the real estate.
Yeah, because it's very simple to coach. All you need
sounds like it.
Yeah, like I'll tell you what it is, what I teach. I teach people what kind of data to get, what kind of tools to use, my scripts, my contracts, and then once you're fluent on speaking with the seller on the phone, you just got to be genuine, Once you're good at running comps, giving offers, building that rapport, that's pretty much it. All you have to do is get that property under a contract, and then my team will do the rest. We'll get that property sold for top dollar because we already have all the cash buyers. So if I teach them how to do the systems, the processes, the people, bring the contract in, the rest is history, right? So that's why I teach.
And you profit on that end too because you help them sell the
So we do a joint venture. We do like a 65-35 for my students, where if we make 10,000, they get 6,500, we get 3,500. But all they focus on is just bringing the contract. That's it.
Bring the deal in.
Yeah, just bring the deal. It's like for you, just bring the deal, and you'll get it funded, right? So same type of concept. They'll bring the deal. I'll basically get it sold.
So do you offer financing options as a part for others?
Like for my coaching students or
for clients? For opportunities, for real estate.
The only thing I do financing for, it's like I'll work with my, with a student. Say, hey, I only have X amount. I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, for your coaching?
For the coaching, that's the only thing. Like, I don't do anything with it because I told you I do everything cash.
Yeah.
So if it's a really good deal, like sometimes my students will bring me deals, and I'm like, hey, I'll buy this. I'll give you $5,000 for it. Because I'll fix it and flip it, or I'll put it in my portfolio. There's students that always bring me deals. Right. The only reason I started this coaching is so I can get more deals coming in my pipeline.
So you don't promote financing. Yeah. Is that also against your thing? Yeah. Religion.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's much tougher to do everything cash compared to like leveraging other people's money. But it's like, it built me differently.
No. It totally makes sense. I mean, the way that you've angled it is very it's creative.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
But
so
if I were
add that to your belts of coaching.
Yeah. If I were to
mentorships.
Yeah.
Like I think somebody would pay top dollar to just follow you around and how you did. I mean, top dollar.
Yeah. I teach people how to do it. Like I have students right now. I have a student that's making $100,000 on a wholesale deal. I've done that many times, but it's just like I told him, hey, once you do that, next thing you do, he's closed many deals before, 7,000, 8,000, a few deals like that. And he brought me a deal. We're gonna make potentially 100K on an assignment on this. I told him, hey, once you do that, buy your first rental.
Where's the property located?
It's here in,
it's Illinois?
Yeah, it's Illinois.
Naperville? Oh,
we do it nationwide, but that deal's in Illinois.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Naperville's, that's a good spot.
Yeah.
That's a good
some
spot.
Good deals there. Yeah, so same type of concept. I'll teach them, hey, once you make a good amount of money, buy a rental or jump on a fix and flip with me. We'll split the profits. I'll find the deal, basically fund half. My team, my GCs will run it, do everything, get it sold, and we'll split it.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, so like showing them other ways to make money. Once they, not just wholesale, but once you have capital.
You progress.
Exactly.
You need the money though first. That's true.
So you make your money from wholesale.
Well, and your journey worked. So you're just teaching people to do the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, so like I made all my capital in wholesaling and then diversified by buying rentals, getting into flips, starting other businesses, all that good stuff,
Yeah.
So that's what people pay me for guidance on following what I did. So.
Yeah. Are you ever surrounded by or in rooms with people that have that corporate mask on that can't?
Oh yeah, a lot of my family members and everything, like, it worked for you, but a lot of people aren't successful in entrepreneurship. I was like, well, because they're not willing to put it. Yeah, they're not doing it, or they're not consistent enough.
I had a call with a guy the other day I worked with for almost 11 years, and I told him, I was like, you should come. You should come with me. He's like, is there healthcare? I'm like, dude, healthcare, bro? Like, I asked him, I was like, when's the last time you went to the hospital?
Yeah.
Like, when? Just tell me. This guy's healthy. I mean, God forbid, definitely. Right? But you're going to literally never try anything
else if they don't
because you're too fearful of not having healthcare.
Yeah. It's insane. I know so many people with the same concept. Like, hey, what's my salary? What's my, how much do I get? Hey, are you going to pay me for this? Or am I going to get that? What kind of benefits do I have? It's like, you're on 1099. You're an independent contractor working for me,
Yeah.
But thing is, we have an opportunity to make a lot more money. Because thing is, I always give incentives, right? There's always bonuses, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to take the leap of faith.
How many people have you met that have worked 40, 50 years for the same company?
So many people.
That are happy.
Yeah.
That go, I'm so glad that I stayed in my cubicle for 40 years and wasted my life. Like your whole life at one place. That's
what society teaches you, right? You grow up, go to college, get your education, get a job, secure that, finance a house, get a car, and just enjoy. And
borrow a bunch of money for school first.
Exactly, yeah.
Get like $80,000 in that.
Yeah, pay that off, pay off your loans. Yeah, it's a rat race, right? You're just stuck in that same cycle. And thing is, now, especially in today's day and age, there's not a lot of opportunity, not a lot of jobs. So people graduate college and not have a job.
Yeah.
So I've seen so many people in that too, So they'll take 80, 100K worth of debt, but
and I think the schools too offer degrees that don't form into legitimate paying positions to justify charging as much as they charge at school. So let's just say, for example, somebody pays $80,000 for a college degree to teach.
Yeah.
How long it will take them to pay that back on a $40,000 salary? And if they were to spend, how much is their course?
$5,000.
$5,000 to learn what you've accomplished. Still teach. Don't get me wrong. You could still do your thing, but do that first.
Yeah.
It's a game changer, right?
100%. Even if you graduated, you have a 9 to 5, right? You're working from 9 to 5, but what about the 5 to 9? Mm-hmm. That's what people forget. We have 24 hours in a day, right? You could be working 9 hours, 8 or 9 hours for your job, making enough to where you're providing for your family, paying the bills, but then you're even sleeping 8 hours. But you have 8 hours of leisure time, What are you doing in that? If you really want to get ahead and you want nicer things in life, dedicate a few hours to a business, starting a business, learning something, right? Learning real estate, learning about entrepreneurship, stuff like that, So that's why I tell people, hey, good. You're working 9 to 5? Cool. But what are you doing from 5 to 9?
Yeah.
Those extra 4 or 5 hours will help you achieve financial freedom even faster.
Right.
So.
And I think freedom and free for me is people get confused.
Yeah.
Like, to me, nothing is free.
Yeah.
Literally nothing is free. But there is freedom.
Yeah.
There's financial freedom. There's all of these things, right? You just have to work and work towards them.
Yeah.
Somebody told me you have to stop making like $60,000 if you want to make $100,000.
Yeah.
You have to stop making 80 if you want to be. You have to break the cycle that you're in order to achieve greatness, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you got to just be consistent. Yeah, you might, start doing, that you might try reaching that financial freedom, and you're putting a few hours from 5 to 9. You're trying to put in the work. You're educating yourself. You're doing all that, but you see no results.
Yeah.
Right? You do it for a month. You're like, hey, I don't see any results. You do it for 2 months. I don't see any results. You even do it for a year. You're like, I don't really see any results. Now they just quit. That's where they mess up.
That's where you mess up.
That's where they mess up, because that,
you just did all of that for nothing.
Exactly. Not even that. Then they never come back to it. They're like, hey, I did this before. It didn't work. I'm just going to stick to what I know.
Yeah.
You got to keep failing.
That's just fear.
The more L's you take, it's one L closer to that W.
Yeah.
So the more losses you take, you're one step closer, one loss closer to that win.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I failed in many businesses before. I had all types of stuff. We had.
Let's hear. What are some of your failures?
I did everything. You could name it. Anything I gave my hands into. I used to sell T-shirts. I used to sell cell phone cases. I used to, be in construction, property preservations. We did, started my own consulting for IT. When I was doing that, I was in healthcare. Started my own SaaS company. Didn't do so well there. So it's like, a lot of failures along the way.
Yeah.
I've probably did like over 30 businesses. Out of the 30 businesses, only 7 are doing 6, 7, 8 figures.
Right.
To where it's like, but thing is, if you look at all the other failures.
You learned.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't even call them failures. I call them every single business that I didn't succeed in, I at least learned something to where my next business is more, I have more knowledge to get into the next business and do better in that one.
Right. And these people in the cubicles.
Yeah.
You got to step out.
Yeah.
To get in.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, and people that work for me, I give them a lot of opportunity, because the thing is, how much money can one person do? How much money
how fun
can
is
one
that to be by yourself?
How much can even one person make? Yeah, you can make a lot of money, but you need teammates. You need people on your team, so you can start delegating, and you have to give equity away. You have to, partnership equity, right? Salary. You have to give away that stuff so you can leverage someone else's time, right? Because time's the most valuable thing. It's not money. It's not crypto. It's not gold. It's not silver.
Right.
It's time. If I could buy someone's time by giving me a little bit of money, a little bit of equity, that's more valuable to me. Because now I bought your time, plus I'm putting a little bit of my time. Now I can focus on other things as well, and just build the actual empire. You can't build an empire. Rome wasn't built in one day, right?
No.
You needed an army. You needed a whole community to do it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it is. You need to build an empire. You need your soldiers with you.
Right.
So.
Well, and that whole concept of bringing all your businesses together, that whole mindset of collaborating, you never know what somebody's going to think about, or the angle they're going to, or
what
perspective.
What might spark from my other person. Like, oh, he said this, hey, this sparked in my head, and I'm just, it's crazy. Like, one idea could turn into 100 ideas, right?
Right. We can bring those cell phone cases back.
Yeah. Probably could, but the thing is, I looked into it. I was like, the margins aren't there. Yeah. And it's like,
That's okay. That's okay.
There's some things that I wouldn't get back into, because I see that it's not.
Yeah.
It's not scalable, right? There's a cap to it. So now, like, the business that I do, I look at it as like, okay, what's the potential? Can I ever go like out of business in this? And is there like a limit to it? Like, how many, like, cell phone shop, there's a limit to it. You can make.
Yeah.
Like, even if you look at like these franchises, T-Mobile's, Sprint.
Yeah, they're struggling.
Like, what are they making? Even with.
They're not making the money. It's the iPhones and the Samsungs that are making the money. Yeah.
So their gross sales on average store, it might be $25,000. But after expenses, this, that, what's their take home? I know guys that own stuff. Their take home is like $5K a month, and that's at scale. So it's like, is it really worth doing this whole operation just to make $5K a month?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, it's like
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So,
it doesn't make enough dollars to make sense. Yeah.
But I'll make $5K, sitting at home or sitting in the office, just doing it virtually, not have a whole army. Just have one or two one person, one or two people, and do it that way, and I can make $5,000-$10,000. With a company. So I look at different things. I'm like, hey, how much time do I have to put in for the amount of money I'm gonna make? That's what I'm looking for now. So.
Well, and I feel like the strategy of how you built your wholesaling is really a strategy you can apply even outside of real estate.
Yeah. So the same structure.
It's just, you just got to find something that you could be a middleman to sell. You know
That's
what I mean?
It is. The most paid profession is not a doctor. It's not an engineer. It's not a lawyer. It's not any of that stuff. It's actually sales. If you're good at sales, if you're good at selling things, dude, the sky is the limit. You can, you can make so much money just by being a middleman, selling whatever it is, selling containers of goods, right? Selling software, selling a product, selling a service. Sky's the limit. You need to be good at sales.
Yeah.
Communication is the main thing. Like I was saying earlier, people do business with people they like and trust.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. If you're a likable person and a trustable person, I can sell you whatever service and product that you're looking for. And make some money. So.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So big moves, obviously. Yeah. So what are some upcoming events that you have for yourself, and who are you looking to connect with from a collaborative perspective?
So right now I'm trying to connect with Bradley, Ryan Pineda. So these are some of the guys that...
You're name dropping.
Yeah,
okay.
So these are some of the guys. Now it's like, I'm somewhat of an influencer on social media. They look up to me like, hey, successful, I have real estate, so it's just like I'm well known in the real estate space as well. And I get invited to speak at stages now with some bigger names, people that I looked up to, like Nick Perry, Troy Kearns. Like these are guys that I was like, oh yeah, these guys are like serial entrepreneurs, people that I get inspired from. And now I'm sharing a stage with them, right? So I'm like, what's the next level after that? Now I'm looking for like the elite entrepreneurs, which is like the Brad Lee, the Ryan Pineda, the Andy Elliott, Grant Cardone. Like these guys are like,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get a collab with them, So to collab with them, it does cost money, right?
Yeah.
But once you get into the circle, even if I paid $25,000, $20,000 just to sit in a room with these guys or do a podcast with these guys, guess what? Now they know me. Now we're friends. Now, we could do business because I might pay Brian Pineda $25,000 do a podcast with him, but guess what? Now when we talk about my services, my businesses that I provide, things that I do, because I think it's the services that I provide, the businesses that I provide, I help out other entrepreneurs, right? Yeah. So every person that I even get on stage with, like these people that I'm on stage with, I'm selling them stuff from my service. I do lead generation. If they want social media, they want branding, whatever it is, so I help them out.
Build their business?
Yeah.
Strategy?
Strategy, not strategy when it comes to that, lead generation.
Yeah. And getting the leads to come in
the door. So whatever business they have, doesn't matter if you have a mortgage company, if you have a real estate company, if you have a lender, whatever the case may be, I can provide leads for you. Because I have a call center. I have 400 employees in my call center. I can provide leads for any type of business. So it's like when I come to any of these entrepreneurs, I'm like, hey, I can get you leads. And I'll be like, I'll give it to you for free for a month. I'll take the cut. I'll take the damage. But once they make some money from it and they see results, guess what? They'll pay me for it.
Yeah, of course. Well, they'll see the value in it too. Yeah,
so that's the main thing. There's two to three things that whenever I meet someone that's like at a higher level than me, right? Like higher caliber people, I just tell them, hey, can I help you provide leads for your business, or can I help you build your brand, social media side? So those are the main two things. That's why I get into these rooms. I'm like, I know.
So you give before you get.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it is. That's the name of the game.
Have you read that book?
I have not. Give before you get?
No, it's called the just a Go Giver. I'm gonna mess that up. Cut that out. Don't put this in it. But there's a book that you should read, and I believe it's called The Go Giver.
The Go Giver?
I'll get. It's at my house.
Yeah.
But it talks about how giving before. You always lead with giving before you receive. Yeah. And it ends up, which I'm sure is part of what you do.
That's what it is in my religion too. You gotta first give.
Yeah.
So it's like even prayers. When we pray, it's like you're praying to God. You gotta give. You gotta give charity. You gotta give. You gotta do good deeds. You gotta help out the community before God. Before you receive.
That's a good question. What other ways do you incorporate your religion and your faith in your life outside of how you carry yourself and from a business perspective, I should say?
Well, for me, when money comes in, I try giving it back to the community. Not just when I said, hey, I try going broke every time I make some money. And every month, whenever I make some, I'm always buying property. I'm always reinvesting in my business, marketing, this, that, to where I can have enough money to where it keeps me hungry. Yeah. Because once you have like 2-3 million in the account, you're not as hungry as a guy that has 30, 40, 50,000, or even 10. That's
or
like
zero.
Zero. I don't try being on zero because I got expenses too. But keeping it to where it's like enough for it's like, okay, I gotta get my shit together. I gotta get up and going.
Yeah.
So it's like just giving back. Helping out the less fortunate people, giving money back home. Prayer's huge. Doing that, and just helping people.
And I'm sure that's helped you to be successful, is because when you believe that God, am I right? God is, always there, and you have that strong moral base. I think it really keeps you grounded in more ways than one.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
That's something that you're really passionate about, it sounds like.
Yeah, you need God in your life. A lot of people, I know a lot of people that are believers, people that believe in the higher being. They already know, like, hey, everything is already pre-written for me. All I have to do is just show up, thank Him for another day, because the thing is, tomorrow's not promised.
No.
So when you wake up, thank God for that day, and then just keep going, keep grinding.
Yeah.
And the day I stop grinding, the day I'm going to be retired is when I'm 6 feet under the ground.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
And I don't ever see you actually just retiring with your kid. I see you maybe not growing and growing and growing, but maybe pulling back on the growth.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like that's something that's
like double
in your
down.
DNA.
Yeah, what I want to do, like when I'm in my 30s, right? It's like double down. Okay, I know these 4 or 5 companies are doing well. They're doing 6, 7, 8, 7 or 8 figures. Okay, I know these are doing good. All right, let's double down. Let's try getting these to 9 figures. Let's try exiting now.
Yeah.
So that's when I get into maybe get into private equity. It's like, hey, let's exit some of these companies. Let's cash out. Get some, do other stuff like that. Because once you have like 100 doors, once you have a good like a rental portfolio, that just pays itself, right?
Right.
It's like
rinse and repeat.
6 figures every single month. How much can a guy do with 6 figures? Like it's enough money coming in per month where you could live comfortable.
And I can foresee maybe you changing the misconceptions and the struggles that Section 8 housing has, maybe from a perspective of not only having Section 8 housing buildings, but maybe providing a platform for the people that you're housing to take advantage of some of the things that you teach.
Yeah.
Because home ownership, having real estate is such a powerful asset. And I think teaching, people that live in those types of environments a way to see that value and get out is a huge, that's a game changer.
Yeah. That's like, I feel like charity work, like helping out my tenants and stuff. I don't even know who my tenants are, to be honest. Like right now I'm just so busy in that. I have my own property management company managing everything. It's all like paid by the government. I don't even know what's going on there. It's just like automatic,
Yeah.
So it's like, but eventually once I have time, I feel like that's a really good.
I can see.
It's a good opportunity to just go out and be like, hey, would you be interested in buying this? Let's fix your credit. Let's get you approved. Let's do this. Let's do that.
You can have it be a part of your model when they sign the lease. You can have them have, a class that they take.
Yeah, it's a good idea. That's something that
That's a way you
give
can
back.
give back.
Yeah. No, it's really good. Really good idea.
Right?
Yeah, it's really good. What about yourself? How are you giving back?
Yeah, my turn. So right now, from a give back perspective, I do spend a lot of time with my kids on just educating them on loving themselves, but also loving others.
Yeah.
So I do volunteering with my kids.
Yeah. There's multiple aspects. It's not just money giving back. If you give back time, that's more valuable. Like I was saying earlier, time is more valuable than money. Anyone could make money and give money, but if you give someone time, like you were saying, my Section 8 tenants and stuff, giving them time, educating them, I think that'll be more valuable to them, That's
getting them off the technology.
Yeah.
My oldest son didn't have a phone until he was 13, and I did that intentionally.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't want him to not be able to make eye contact. You'd be surprised, kids nowadays, they can't even talk with each other. There'll be 10 of them in a room and they're all on their phone, right? So I've really been taking pride in, keeping them the social skills and, just making sure that they live in reality and not on
that's
their
great.
phone.
Yeah, like giving back time to your kids is very crucial because once they grow up, it's like that's what they teach us where it's like when you're born, your parents take care of you. They give you all the time to educate you, train you, and then what happens is then you get old, and guess
Yeah.
what? If you raise them well, now they're gonna give you time.
Yeah.
Now it's their turn to give you time.
Yeah.
When you're older and and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
When you don't have time yourself.
Yeah.
But I think right now I'm also on the board of the Boys and Girls Club for Elgin. So I do also
Nice.
support, youth in multiple ways. But right now for me, I'm just so focused on business and my home for my, the kids. It's just, it's work. It's work.
Having 3 kids not easy. It's full-time gig. It's a full-time job.
It's a full-time gig, full-time. But I've really been enjoying it. And again, leaving that corporate realm really gave me the freedom. I mean, I can remember years where I literally was just work, home, work, home, work, home, work, home. And it's just so much time. Yeah. And I finally, when I broke free from that, I totally opened my eyes to just life and living, time.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. No, that's good. I just got married a few months ago.
Oh, congrats!
So appreciate it. Thank you. So now I'm looking forward to that next journey.
Okay, so is it a part of the schedule? Are we moving on to kids after 30, or are you just whenever it is
whenever God blesses me with kids?
Okay.
I feel like it's it's like I'm ready. Right. So with my wife, we're ready. It's just like planning it. We planned it. It's now it's just like
good for you.
Whenever God gives it,
it's gonna happen. I have no doubt in my mind.
If God wills, it's like.
Are you gonna stay in Skokie or wherever you're at, or are you planning on moving out to the city? Okay.
I live in Skokie. I have my own place. Me and my wife. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I got my own, townhouse. So it's like I'm looking for a house, like a bigger house. Like a 2.5 car garage.
Get out that townhouse.
Yeah. The funny thing is, we're actually listing it, like. A few days from now. So I had a photographer come out, took all the pictures and everything. So within a few days, the listing should be live. I think they said Monday.
Okay.
So
Speaking of which, I have a guy I need to connect you with, an investor that I need to connect you with. He only builds in Skokie.
Oh, really?
He's like loves that area.
He doesn't want to leave it. 3-bed, 2-bath, something.
I think he has one that he's literally about to finish.
No way.
Building, yeah. He knocks him down, and he's.
That could be it. That could be the one.
That could be the one,
bro. That could be the one. Because I'm telling you, my wife's only job, she's a stay-at-home wife. That's her only job is to look at houses all day.
Okay.
That's it. That's all she's doing.
Then I'll connect
3-bed,
you.
2-bathroom, 2-car garage, 2.5 car garage.
He's a great guy too.
Okay, that's
great guy. Innovator. He's going to be definitely somebody that'll probably send you some.
I gotta see. The budget's like $600-700K. It's not,
It's fine.
We'll figure it out.
Well, yeah. I'll see if
there. See if it makes sense.
You never know. You might be able to barter with them.
Yeah, I'm a good negotiator. So.
Yeah. Well, congrats.
Thank you.
This was exciting.
This was good.
I feel like I ended up interviewing you more than me, but that's okay. This is a practice round.
Yeah.
It's in my.
Yeah, in your.
And I didn't know you, so we didn't have the conversation before. So you see how that'll help?
Yeah, 100%. I want to rewatch this, see what kind of questions you asked me. You had some good questions.
See?
Yeah.